You guys, welcome to an all-new week of So Bad It's Good. This is your pop culture roundup. Listen, I go out to the people that I thoroughly enjoy talking to for the pop culture roundups, and we have not talked to our next guest. It feels like a year. It probably was just like a month. But she is kind of the best in overall pop culture, which is what we like to do, not just the Bravo, but everything. And right now, there is way too much going on. I was just going over some like basic notes, and I was like, this is impossible because I just kind of want to, it's too crazy what's going on in the pop culture world. And I'm almost just like, go hug a loved one. Just go up to somebody real and tell them that you love them. And after you do that, just dig into this episode and we'll see where it goes. You might know her from the New Betches podcast. It's been going on a couple months, but I still think it's new because it should be new to you. You need to go listen to this podcast called Crown Jewels. Her and Samantha Bush every week cover everything that's happening with the Royals. And I got to tell you, there's always a lot happening with the Royals.
Always.
Also, you need to follow her on all the social media platforms, including now Threads. We've got a new one, Threads. So without further ado, welcome back, Lex Niko. Thank you so much for being here, Lex.
Hi, how are you?
I'm frazzled, but I'm good, and I'm so happy. Like I was like so happy that you said you would do it because I'm like I can't talk to somebody new. I can't break into somebody's new personality today. I need an old faithful that knows everything that's going on, and you always know everything that's going on.
I'm happy to be here. Pulling a ringer.
Wait, so I guess the big question is, what's going on? What the hell is going on right now? Like, honestly, what the hell is going on this last week?
I have no idea. It feels like everything and nothing. I feel like it's like pure chaos is happening. Like, it's wild. Like I'm trying to not look at Vanderpump behind the scenes filming. Everyone's capturing stuff.
Oh, they've ruined the entire season. We already know the entire season that's happened. And then you think that's, okay, I'll turn away from Vanderpump. And then I'm like, I have to look at Jonah Hill texts. I have to look at Jonah Hill being potentially mentally abusive to an ex-girlfriend. And you guys, I'm going to go off on this because this is Sandoval related, is that I've already getting people fighting with me of like, well, she seems like a bad seed herself. I'm like, of course it's the woman's fault. Of course it's the woman's fault.
Oh my God. People are saying that to you?
Yes.
It's insane reading those texts. I was like, this man is like armchair therapying his girlfriend and like manipulating her. I couldn't believe what I was reading. And it's tough, right? Like, he is very much being like, these are my boundaries, da 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 da. But it's like, bro, if those are your boundaries, like, you gotta get more therapy.
Well, he's also confusing boundary, like the term boundaries. How he's using it is boundaries is one thing, but boundaries isn't then telling people to take down their sexy photos, to not have conversations with men. And by the way, I know we just started off on a real high. You might be going like, what the hell's going on with Jonah Hill? Like, did he do something after Superbad? And it's like this guy. His ex-girlfriend over the weekend started like Instagram storying because right now Jonah Hill is with a new girl. They just had a baby, which is like, congratulations. He also just released a documentary on his therapist like 6 months ago, which I enjoy. I enjoy people that like take their mental health seriously, but then I always get scared when you read things like this and you're like, oh wait, this dude actually isn't as enlightened as I was hoping. It's the same thing with Sandoval. Like, I look up to these guys and I'm like, I could get to be this in touch with myself. And then you're like, oh, this is what being this in touch with yourself is like me. Like, if I went through Lex's photos right now, you guys, and go, hey, too much eyes in this. I don't want to see your eyes, guys.
Too much.
Yeah. Oh, who's this guy that said nice photo? Who is that? Block that guy. That's what he was doing to this girl.
I know. And it's crazy because it's like, I like have this thing on my Instagram stories where I'm like, only good things for Jonah Hill. It's like I had this soft spot for him where it's like you want him to be happy and healthy emotionally because he's been very public about his struggles with his body image, with his mental health. He did that documentary with his therapist, Shuts, I think it was called. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's just like you see somebody working on themselves and you're like, this is so great. And it's like so amazing that you talk about it. And then you see this other side of them and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Can't trust anybody.
Yeah, so this girl, you guys, she is a professional surfer. Her name is Sarah Brady. He dated in 2021. Now, Jonah Hill was, I believe, 39 at the time, and she was like 24. Mm-hmm. And in these series of text messages that she released, he was just demanding so many things of her. And for a professional surfer, he was asking her to take down surf shots of her in a swimsuit. Like, what else are you supposed to wear while you surf? And he then, I keep joking about this on social media, and I think a lot of people are not understanding what I'm joking about, is he kept bringing up the term surf culture. Like, I respect surf culture. Like, listen, dude, I'm so happy. Like, you almost got me thinking that maybe I should surf one day, and now that's out the window. Because he kept saying, like, so you don't respect surf culture. I'm like, what the fuck is it's Sandoval to me, reminding me of how Sandoval was telling Ariana things like, you know, she wore a shirt. That's how sexy it was.
Yeah, that's how hot it was. It's like, shut the fuck up. Here's the list. There was one, and it's funny, this Instagram called Drag His Ass posted it. Someone tweeted, my dream summer bucket list, because this is what he wanted her to like take down. Didn't want her to do. Surfing with men, boundaryless inappropriate friendships with men, to model, to post pictures of yourself in a bathing suit, to post sexual pictures, friendships with women who are in unstable places and from your wild recent past, beyond getting a lunch or coffee or something respectful. Like, these are demands. These are not boundaries.
Also, who's in a stable relationship? Who's in a stable, like, nobody's stable
state
these
of mind.
days. Like,
yes.
you know what I'm saying? Like, and by the way, that's our right to, like, every day. No, none of us have it figured out. Like, don't think that any of us have it figured out. And it scares me. Like, those go past boundaries, because that then is the onus on Jonah saying that he is perfect almost. Correct. And that if you can't be as perfect as I am, and somebody pointed this out, the reason, like, one of their first flirtations was in an Instagram DM where he responded to one of her posts of like, girl, want to hang out with you. Like, that's, I think he knows
one of her
how sick men
bikini
are.
surfing posts. Yes.
Which, by the way, they weren't that thoughty. She was actually on a surfboard, and she, like, believe me, I've seen way, way more thoughty that was not insane.
She's a surfer. She was posting herself surfing or in a bikini, which is surf culture. And he's like, take all of those down, abandon like your core, hobby and professional career, or we can't date. Like, what? It's so weird.
Well, what is she supposed to do? Just like lay in a bed or in a box somewhere and just like not do anything? And then he would be upset because she didn't have a life of her own. You depend on me too much. You can already see where and the sad thing at the end of the day, and this is like, I'm trying to be sympathetic also to Jonah, is that you realize, he's just miserable. There's nothing that's going to change this potentially because he's
exactly.
And I understand that mind state somewhat, but I think men, we seem to get ourselves in trouble because the real problem is ourselves. And like, there's such an intense self-hatred that we need to blow it back on other people and make them just as miserable. Yeah. And like, and also, what do you think that therapist he made a documentary. Do you think the therapist is like, whoa, Jonah, whoa?
Seriously, like, what is the therapy? Like, that's the thing. I want a therapist. Like, I got to go on therapy TikTok or something and get a psychological breakdown of what's happening here, because he's like, he's using all the therapy language. And again, it's this like, it feels really manipulative because it feels like he is approaching it from this place of like over therapying her. And she's just like, wait, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, and he went and had a baby with this other woman. And it's like, what's her deal and what's their relationship like? I'm very curious.
I think Jonah Hill will sign for season 11 of Vanderpump Rules. I do think he will. I think he's going to be one of Tom's friends. I think it's going to be one of the perfect. No, I just think it's something interesting. Go check these out for yourself. And by the way, I'm always not saying that this girl is perfect, nor should she be.
Correct.
We all nor should she be, but I will say there's a pattern of behavior that is so antagonistic in these DMs and text messages that like, I think it would really screw somebody's head up, whether you're a guy or a girl. It's just that we're so, that was the other thing. Some girl wrote me or responded saying, oh, what's the big deal? Every girl gets these from guys. And that's the other thing is like, okay, sure, but the fact that girls have to normalize this behavior, it's almost like dick pics. When I found out, like, I've never sent a dick pic in my life, but I found out that all my girlfriends, they're like, I got a stack of them. I got a whole folder of them. I'm like, what? They're like
caboodle.
Yeah. She's like, they never even asked to send. Like, I never asked for them. They just send them, and I'm like, what? And it's so commonplace. Like, how the fuck, Lex, this is, okay, not to bring Kyle Richards into this, how does, no offense, and I'm sure it's very natural, but like how do we as guys ever expect a girl to ever want to stay with, like every girl was going to eventually go to another girl because they seem to be so much more emotionally advanced. Please don't give me hate mail for that comment, you guys. No. Please. How do you do it? Like why do you still want to be with guys?
It's my red flag. I always say that. I'm like, my toxic trait is I'm attracted to straight men. Like, it's my whole toxic trait. It's so fucking crazy. It's like a woman is afraid, like personally, and I had this conversation with every single girlfriend of mine, like you live in fear of walking down the street alone and like a man walking behind you or crossing your path because they'll make a comment. Now, I walk my dog every day and I'm like, literally, I look terrible.
What do you mean make a comment?
Like they'll hit on you, or if a man is walking behind you and you're alone, it's like the scariest thing for a woman because men feel this like privilege and they feel like they can just like approach and encroach on your space no matter what. And it's like, again, with the DMs, with the dick pics, like nobody ever, what girl, unless it's like your boyfriend maybe, let's say, but like no girl is ever like, send me a picture of your dick. You know,
unless they're just playing along in some sort of fantasy that you know, like. Well, I will say that I'm very aware because I am in so many circles of females. Like I'm a bigger gentleman, and I am very aware of the space I take up. And I don't mean that I'm like hold space for me, but like the physical space I take up. That I'm very aware when I'm walking next to not to hit on a girl, but to walk away from them because I'm always scared that girls will automatically be scared of me just because first I'm a male and second because of sometimes my size. And that way, like I'm so aware of it. Like you'll even see me in pictures aware with girls that like I will. Somebody was pointing out. I was on Sheena's podcast a long time ago and. Sheena and her friend Jamie Lynn, I was in the middle of a hug with them, and you can see both of my hands hovering over their shoulders. Like I wouldn't even put it down on their shoulders.
You're doing
because
the Keanu
I was
Reeves.
Nervous. Yeah, God, Keanu Reeves. Now everybody would be like, no, put the full hand on my shoulder. But for me, I'm
like, send me a dick pic.
Keanu's like, wait, I get asked for dick pics all the time. Literally, I thought it was all the time. So I guess. Like my fashion icon was Jonah Hill in the last couple of years, and now that's out the window. And Jonah Hill will never respond to this probably. No. But if you look into, I saw this on TikTok, old interviews. It was like Seth Rogen was on Hot Ones, and they said, "What is the most? Who's the most? Not. It was like troubling or most, not problematic, but it was like the actor." That was most, it was like most troubled or something. And without hesitation, he yelled at Jonah Hill. He was like, Jonah.
Oh my God.
I just have a feeling. And of course, like when you go through life at a certain size and when like, I don't know. And then on top of like getting so much attention at a young age when, Superbad hit and all the Judd Apatow movies, it's got to mess with your mind so much. And I know he thinks he's trying, I don't know. It's weird, man. I'm trying to make excuses for him.
You can see where, like, the place he's coming from, right? Like, it feels like he's like, these are the things that I need to feel mentally stable, healthy, etc. But, like, it's almost like the things that he needs are actually a bit unhealthy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. And then I think sometimes when we therapize ourselves, and when I'm brave enough to go, I really do enjoy therapy. But at the same time, it's not a pass that means you're right now in every conversation because you went to therapy. Like, therapy is a very personal experience. It's not hey, I went to therapy. That means I'm right all week, and whatever I text you goes.
Exactly. And it's like, okay, Jonah, like you're quote unquote healed, but like your healing is not my healing or Sarah's healing or Ryan's healing. Like, and you can't project that on to the relationship.
And also from a girl's perspective, there's such a age differential with them. It was like 15 years that how, like, if he's setting boundaries, you can't do 30 things that I'm telling you in a text thread. Like, that's got to really confuse a young woman as well.
And I'm sure she started to like question her self-worth and stuff, right? Like she's like, oh, are these bathing suit pictures bad? And I saw, I think it was like she had archived or she reposted photos that she had deleted
taken down,
he asked her to. And I'm just like, A, that's a really wonderful way for you to like start taking back your power. But B, like how sad that like I think in one of the texts she was like, that's like my favorite surfing video of myself and blah blah blah, and he like made her take it down, and she's like, what if I change the cover picture? And it's just like, girl, this is so sad to watch. And she was young and she's super impressionable, right? So it's like, it was just like a shame to see, because I love Jonah Hill so much.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting, and by the way, I know every one of us on planet Earth has some deep rooted issue, and I'm not canceling Jonah Hill, you guys,
No,
but I am
yeah.
saying certain behaviors you can't think that you are so enlightened past somebody and not realize things like age, experience, and that's why I think this girl did release all of these things, because she's probably at the anger phase of realizing what she put herself through, feeling like an idiot. She probably felt like an idiot, and now she's probably just pissed. She's probably
Exactly.
just pissed. God, you're not dating Jonah right now, are you? Just
No.
I just want to make sure.
I am not the mother of his child. No, no, no.
I can just like she. I want you to stop talking about the Royals, Lex. I want you to stop the podcast. I want you to get off social. It's very bad. Wait, okay. So speaking of social, let's move on to Mark Zuckerberg's revenge. Now, Meta is the company that has Instagram, Facebook, one of our big masters of destroying our future world, and it has launched its Twitter killer called Threads, which is it is direct competition with Elon Musk's Twitter.
Yes.
And what did you think of how are you feeling about Threads so far? You were very highly online. I think a lot of people look to you in terms of culture and things like this. What do you think of Threads so far?
I mean, I love it. I think it's fun.
Still,
I
4
do.
days in, you like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely see myself kind of like, yesterday and today I wasn't like as active on it, but I definitely think it's fun. I loved how sorry, my throat. One sec. I don't know what's happening.
See, this is Jonah's right. You need to stop with the podcast. You need to stop with the talking.
He's like, stop talking.
It's like,
No, I loved
You're
that it was
wearing
like
your voice.
a collective moment for us all, and like everybody jumped on it when it dropped, and everyone was like, what is this? It's so fun. Feels like early Twitter, da 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 da. I need two things on it though. I need like to be able to save or bookmark like you can on Twitter, and I want to be able to like search a topic. I don't know if you can do that yet.
You
but,
can't do that yet, and I kind of would love a drafts folder for ideas.
Yes.
Well, that's just because
Yes.
I post stupid jokes, and like those, like you're like, oh, that joke needs something. Like it's so bad right now. I can get it
But I'm
less
gonna
bad
tweak it.
if
I'm gonna tweak it.
Yeah, I have this thought. It is interesting though. I will say this, and obviously I'm still on Twitter, but I said this, and somebody on Twitter that didn't even follow me like wrote me yesterday of like, sorry to hear that you hate Twitter. Good luck.
Oh.
And I'm like, this is exactly the kind of thing, reason why I hate Twitter. Like, it's
Yes.
like, dude, I mean, like, by the way, good luck to you as well. But Twitter became this thing where it was a highly negative,
Yes.
like lightning rod, that it would push information out to you that would get you upset. Like I found myself getting extreme right-wing posts because it knew it upset me. I found myself getting like people that would it was like Raquel Stan Twitter from Vanderpump. Like it was these kind of things that would really kind of bother me. Like now I'm not an information account. Like, you do great at that. There's like certain like that I look towards and I'm like, oh, I get so much information. I like to make my jokes and I'm very like, I'm not shitting on myself. It provides some sort of weird service to my own mental health.
Entertainment.
Yeah.
Yes.
But people want to get you upset. People want to see you get upset. That is what it feels like. And it's nice. And I know Threads will probably change, but it is nice to not have that immediate negativity associated with it like we do Twitter sometimes. And I'm so
Yes.
sorry if Twitter's your favorite. Like I love Sophie Ross. Sophie's so good on Twitter.
best.
Sam Bush, one of our mutual friends, I know she's still on. Everybody's on both right now. And I think of their accounts as different in certain ways where I really enjoy both accounts. But there's a lot of negativity that I've been trying to get away from just because I'll find myself getting angry. So Threads is not getting me as angry yet, and it is this kind of last. Yeah, well, that's the thing is that I posted
It's
that Jonah
inevitable,
Hill
right?
thing, and I started getting like little comments about the girl on the Jonah Hill TMZ piece that I posted, and I was like, wow, like so I don't know, like I want to believe. I don't know. I want to believe
You
that
want to
not
believe
that we're
it's
all
like
good,
going to
but
stay good. but we know that there's going to be a turning point where it's like going to go from good to bad, like hot to cold. And it's going to happen. It is annoying. It was like with TikTok, right? Like I would always post videos and it's like the commenters, the who cares? And it's like,
yeah, exactly.
On TikTok to be like, who cares? Like, I care. Leave me alone.
Yeah, that's what I said. The fact that I posted it, assume I care.
Yes,
assume
exactly.
I care. Yeah, somebody wrote that on the Jonah Hill thing on my Instagram stories, and I was like, oh, sorry, I care. Like it should be obvious. I care. You're responding to something I posted. But that's the kind of negativity that I sometimes wonder about, because I don't know. I'm trying to think psychologically what you go through to leave a comment like that, or to, I don't know. I think that's obviously something that we're going to deal with.
People wanting to bring other people down, and ultimately they are absolutely going to find themselves on Threads. But like, I'm really enjoying the time before they do, because it does feel like I also live for those moments, like with Scandival, right? Like those moments that like collectively we come to this place, like to collectively bring us together, in the zeitgeist. And I feel like Threads dropping early was that moment. And we were like coming off of like the cage fight. We were coming off of everybody being pissed at like Twitter restricting it to like 600 posts. I think it was like in a 24-hour period.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. Elon was then trying to, limit, supposedly he didn't pay his Google bill, his Google cloud storage bill. So he was trying to get us to pay money each month to up how many posts we saw a day and up how many this. And it's kind of a weird, it's a brilliant business move on Zuckerberg's part to be like, okay, folks, here you go. And I mean, it really is brilliant. And you can tell Elon was butthurt about it, because there was like all of a sudden rumors about a lawsuit potentially. Yep. Which, by the way, every idea is usually a stolen idea that's made better. There are Uber, Lyft. There's so many like.
Exactly. And like they were like, oh, all of these people left Twitter and went to Meta and they contain proprietary knowledge and blah, blah. It's like, no, you laid off a bunch of people and they went and got a new job with their skill set that, yes, became Threads. Like, what are you, like, I don't even understand how you could make that argument. Like, you let them go. People have to go find another job. Like they lucked out.
This is our skill set. There's only so many people trying to take over the world with social media. There's like obvious. Well, and Elon thought he was being so smart about these moves. And by the way, Elon's not out. Twitter's going nowhere, folks. Like also, if Elon can step out of his own way, Twitter will be fine in the long run. But I think this could be a nice wake up call and a wake up moment for them, especially when we're entering a nonstop political cycle again, which this isn't a political podcast, but going into the 2024 election. Oh, my God, is it the 2024 election? Is it?
Yes.
Oh my God. What year? We're in 2023? No,
yes,
I gotta be wrong.
2023.
2026?
2024 will be the election. Me?
No.
I'm dead serious.
Has it? No.
It's been almost 4 years.
Okay, let's talk Vanderpump Rules. Let's talk, my God, that just really stopped me in my tracks.
I know.
No, I think it's an interesting time to release this. And also I did find myself, though, and this is how the sickness of being online a lot, is
chronically
that...
online.
Yeah, is that you start go like, well, why did this person not follow me back? Why did this? And by the way, I want to apologize to anybody out there. If you know me and I haven't followed you back, I might not have seen it. Like I have not done that personal vendetta thing that a lot of people do.
And then the weird interface was like, to look at your followers, it was saying like remove, not follow. Like it was weird.
Yes,
like,
yeah.
And I was just like, people were accidentally unfollowing people. So there's definitely kinks, but I agree with you. PSA to anybody that we haven't followed back, it is not with intention. It's just we don't know how to use the app.
But I know that sick part of my mind knows that there are people out there going, oh buddy, it is on purpose.
Yeah.
It is on purpose. Well, did you notice too, and this is like, my Instagram got all messed up because it's the same company, but my Instagram, I can't see my actual like grid anymore. Posts that I posted this past week, you can see on stories, but you can't see on the actual grid anymore. I don't even know how to... I don't know what's wrong or how to fix it, but like I posted a bunch of show images because I had like Brian Moylan on this week and that disappeared. Callaway disappeared. Like all these things disappeared this week.
Oh no.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I think it's just probably.
Oh my God. Also, total sidebar. I'm so excited. I downloaded your Callaway episode for the plane.
Okay.
I'm so excited.
My God. So Lex, this is what I can't wait to talk to Sophie next week because A lot of people messaged me
yes.
this week just because of Sophie. In fact, I got a text from Sophie, just so everybody knows. Sophie was like, you interviewed Caroline Callaway and you didn't. And by the way, we did this on the 4th of July, and this was like a thing that I did not think was going to happen. But just so everybody knows, Sophie was the one that reached out to me to have Caroline Callaway on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have done that interview with Sophie Ross if she hadn't have, like, it was literally the morning of the 4th of July. Like, she was like, okay, you want to do it? Let's do it now. And I got to say, following Caroline I got like nice messages, but I had so many like, oh, how dare you give her a platform? How dare. And by the way, the interview was completely scatterbrained on both of our accounts. I stayed up all night reading her book, which I really did love from a reading perspective, completely loved. But it is interesting to read that, to talk to her. And not that I even had a sympathetic viewpoint, but I'm not going to shit on anybody who comes on my show, first off. And second off, when you do read the book, you do kind of talk to her. And I was somebody that even admitted to her, I was somebody that did participate in making fun of Caroline Callaway. And by the way, when you are that scatterbrained and things like that, you open yourself up. And she opens herself up a lot. And a lot of that she actually uses to kind of create, I don't know, some kind of, I mean, there is a PR mastermind in there. It is just so scatterbrained at times.
Yes.
But I'm curious to see if you can follow that interview. But I thoroughly enjoyed talking to her. I wish it was able to be just about Taylor Swift, because she loves Taylor Swift so much.
Oh, really?
Like, she went to the Tampa show because she lives in Florida now. She's all about, I don't know, but what was your relationship with Caroline Callaway, being somebody online as well?
So it's like a weird relationship in the sense of like, I'm obsessed with watching other people be obsessed with her, like Sophie or like Kelly, Laguna Biatch. Like, they like love her and like are obsessed with her. And like, I like reading and hearing their thoughts of what she's doing, if that makes sense. Like, whenever that article came out years ago, like I definitely ate it up, and like she was doing the like,
cut article with
like the tour, and she was basically, everyone calls her like snake oil, selling snake oil, shit. And I was just like, this is a fascinating person. And to your point, I often question with her, it's like she is all over the place and she seems like quote unquote unhinged at times, but I'm like, is this all like a shtick? Like how, Paris Hilton had the voice and then suddenly she's like, that's not actually my voice at all. But she knew exactly what she was doing the whole time. I question that with Caroline. It's like, is this just like her shtick and she is like outsmarting, outwitting, outplaying all of us,
I think it's a mixture of both. I think every time she actually like tries to like get behind it and make it a shtick, she can't fully fully commit. I think there is this thing of like, my thing was that like I said, I was like, oh wow, this book has been promised so long that I thought that was going to be her shtick for the rest of her life. It was like performance art. Like she was going to promise this book scammer every year into her 70s, and we were going to eat it up each time potentially. And by the way, I know a lot of people don't know who Caroline Callaway is, so that's the other funny thing is that somebody this was on YouTube.
Very online.
Yeah,
niche.
Well, no, but I really so appreciate online niches, and she was laying down in the interview, which wasn't, but I see somebody said this, or like how disrespectful, and I was like, I didn't even think of that for a minute. I was cozy, dude. I get relax.
Yeah, whatever you need to do.
But it is interesting how other people then view that, because I was like, of course Caroline's going to lay down during the interview.
Makes total sense.
Like I didn't even get offended by it in the least. So I just get excited to actually talk to somebody that I had read about and had participated in online forums with for like 8 years. Of course, I'm excited to talk to that person. Like I said, I felt like cramming for a school test, trying to finish her book in one night after I had recorded an OC recap, and then try to be respectful to her and what she was selling, and then also respectful to an audience that I was like, oh shit, I'm scared if Reddit just tears this apart.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the other fear, but that's being so online, which kind of ties into our thread conversation. But you always tend to have like this positive element to you. You've never
ever the optimist.
Well, no, you've never gotten like, you've just never gotten mean. You've never, I don't know, like, is that always you, or are you secretly mean?
No, it's really just my personality. Like I feel like my mom like always says, I feel like I'm just like an overly empathetic person, and I've always come from a place of like judgment-free zone, and I like information. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
I don't
Exactly.
really want to do anything with it or have an opinion necessarily, but like I like information, but I also love somebody like Sophie. This is just like the I Heart Sophie podcast now, but like she's like snarky in such a
Yeah,
nice,
well,
detailed way that I'm like, I wish that my brain worked like that. It just doesn't.
well, that's what Sophie said. I read one of her tweets in regards to Threads. She was like, okay, this is great, but when can I be an asshole again? When
Yes,
can I be?
yeah.
And by the way, she does that in a really, I don't want to be the kiss ass, but she does that in a very good way where she can get away with it. Even though she does ruffle feathers, there's enough
Definitely.
good information there where, and that's what I will say, I'll have a lot of younger women that listen to this show, especially love Sophie, that especially love that mix of both. I can be snarky about Bravo celebrities and celebrities, but I'll never be snarky to an actual person that I'm speaking
Yes,
to. Like I'll
yes.
never be like, "Hey, what up, fucknut? Like you think this is yeah, Caroline, you think this is cool what you're doing? Like this is bullshit." No, I'm never going to be like that.
No, not at all. But I like, again, with Sophie, I'm like, I could see her doing that, but it's like a part of her charm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's a part of her charm, but I don't think I could personally, and Caroline was the same way. I asked her, what are your feelings like? I couldn't imagine putting myself on there like a grenade and
Yes.
just knowing that you're going to piss people off. As many people that will like you for it. Same with Sophie at times where I'm like, dude, you're going to say this and you're going to really piss people off. So it's interesting knowing that you almost have to have like Teflon or understand that a certain segment will really dislike you.
Yes. And you have to just be like totally okay with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like they are. They have to be able to continue to interact online and publicly the way that they do, right? Like there's a Teflon element there for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on to
The sun is going right into
I
your
know,
eye.
you guys. I'm so sorry. I don't have my normal setup. Harry Styles got hit in the eye at a concert yesterday, overseas at a concert in Vienna. In Vienna.
No, they're supposed to be chic.
What is going on? So now we had BB Rexa. We had another Ava Max.
Pink.
We had Pink. Pink's
ashes.
getting ashes and
Yes.
wheels of brie cheese thrown at her.
Yes.
And then now Harry Styles. When's it going to stop, Lexi? What do you think?
I hate this trend. I hate it.
Is it?
I
is
loved
it
what
that-
Adele said about it. Did you see that?
What did
Where she
Adele
was
say?
like, at her residency, she had like a t-shirt gun and she's like, if any of you think of fucking throwing anything on this stage, I'll fucking kill you. Like,
Yeah, because listen, I made a joke, but I'm like, dude, if you came to throw stuff, you should have to pay extra for that. Like
Yeah.
you should have to, and it should be a game then. You should have security there. Can you get past the security? Because this is ridiculous, and it's going to take, Harry Styles is literally now one of the number one most, Marissa sent me this article, I think he's like the number one most streamed male artist of all time or something wild.
checks out.
Yeah, I think some people like him, but the thing is, it's going to take Taylor Swift or Beyonce. If somebody throws something at Taylor Swift and hits her, that person,
Game over.
it won't even be jail. It'll be torn. It'll be like the Coliseum. You will be torn limb from limb. Some 13-year-old girl wanting her like little 15 minutes of fame. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be insane.
It's going to be insane. And it's like, did you ever watch that show or hear of this show on Prime Video called Swarm?
Yeah.
And it was
Donald Glover produced it. Yeah.
Yes. And like, so the thing of that show was like the girl was like this singer's biggest fan, and anybody like talked shit about this singer, and like she turned into a serial killer, and she was like murdering anybody that like didn't love the like Beyonce of the show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the Swifties, if anybody hurt Taylor, like the Swifties would be on that Instagram investigating, like the
it's
FBI
over.
should hire
It's
them,
over.
hunting that person down.
That's what I'm saying. And I think Beyonce to a similar degree.
Yes.
Those are the two fandoms, or Teresa Giudice. Like if Teresa Giudice ever does, if she gets something thrown at her at the next reunion, it's over for that person. It's over for generations of that person's family as
Exactly.
well. Like it's not going to
Exactly.
ever be forgotten. It's going to be like,
Nope.
the West remembers, or the North remembers. It's never going to end for that person. And the thing is, we live in such a messed up society that somebody out there right now is seeing this attention and sees it and goes, I want a piece of that. I want to be the
Absolutely.
first
They wanna be the
person.
one.
Yeah, like who would throw something at Harry Styles' eye? The only thing that you should be throwing are little kisses and things like that.
I know. And like was it Ava Max or BB Rexa? Like I think Ava got like punched in the face. Like they were getting like, they're like injured. BB's like eye, remember with the phone? Like, her eye was like cut up. It was really dangerous. Like,
well, the flip side of that, though, is for artists like BB Rexa, not so much Harry Styles, obviously, but BB Rexa, there is this element. Now, this is not staged at all, but there is an element of, wow, this got BB Rexa's name out there. She's on tour. The tour actually was selling what I understand like mediocre, decent, but it puts her name out there. This is like millions of dollars in free sympathetic advertising where you are the hero all of a sudden. And I'm saying that not that I don't think she's ever probably going to get to a place where she appreciates what happened to her, but in this culture, it is something you can't buy that kind of press.
Oh, yeah. And you're right. I'm sure that there were people that were like, oh, I didn't know she was on tour. They're like, I'm going to buy tickets and support my girl BB now because what happened to her wasn't right. Like, you know, and they're like, I'm going to make it right by giving a millionaire more money.
I want the first artist to come out in like full football uniform with like a helmet and shoulder pads and like, just try it, man. Let's do this. Like, I want it to be like running.
Come at me. Who gonna check me?
When I start doing live shows, I'm going to picture people. Like, I'm going to assume people will throw things at me, and that's going to be my thing. Which, by the way, I can't believe this whole thing didn't start with Tom Sandoval and the Most Extras. Like, how was he not the first to get something thrown directly at him?
You're so right. Again, like Team Ariana fans, they just showed up hard for their girl with signs, with screaming, but like no violence, no throwing. But you know what? Now that you said it, here we go.
Now, speak truth to power. Ariana, by the way, we mentioned this on Friday, but it finally, another one of the worst kept secrets. Ariana Madix joined this 32nd season of Dancing with the Stars. Derek Howe made the announcement from something about her sandwich shop. It was on Good Morning America, and Ariana's going to do this. Ariana's a really decent dancer, so
really,
I'm kind of on Dancing with the Stars, I don't watch it every season, but you usually know the people that are like, well, that's not fair. Like, that D'Amelio girl was on, and I'm like, she's already a dancer. Like,
she's a professional dancer. Yeah. Like Zendaya was on.
Yeah, well, then Zendaya was on Dancing with the Stars at some point?
Yes, years ago. Whoa. I'm a big Dancing with the Stars girl. Yeah. Wait,
why?
I can't remember if she won or was the runner-up. I have to look that up. But she was on Dancing with the Stars.
I went to Dancing with the Stars one time live when Erica Jane was on it. And there's a picture of me like in the background. This is pre-Tom and but I was like, yay! So Ariana's going to be on Dancing with the Stars. That's going to film in the fall. So I'm sure one of her storylines on season 11 of Vanderpump Rules will be her choreography sessions. And like you said, we are getting so much of season 11 already spoiled. If you go online, everybody's loving to take these, full-on video things of, I've seen filming 2 scenes now with Tom and Tom. There is this rumor that Tom Sandoval potentially might have sold his stake in Schwartz and Sandy's, which I don't know if that is true. Just be careful what you believe. Like, I things are thrown out, and where that could make sense, I don't know if that necessarily would be. I do know that he is hanging out at Tom Tom a lot, Sandoval. That is, they have welcomed him back with open arms. But the guy seems to have no shame in a sense. Like, he's right back in there. He does not care. He's holding his head up high. And I think
taking flowers to LVP.
Oh God, what a kiss! Here, what's going on, dude? Here's some flowers for you. Sorry about pump clothing, dude. Do you think that's the right attitude to come into a new season of head up high? I did what I did. Fuck everybody else.
I mean, personally, no, but knowing what we know about Tom Sandoval, I couldn't see him doing it any other way. Like, I commented, I posted it to my story, one clip that I did share, because I was like, I'm trying to truly avoid this. Like, I want to watch the season with a blind, eye. But there was one where he's talking with Tom Schwartz, and his arms are crossed, his head's down, he's like scowling. And I'm like, this fucking man, you can just tell, like, he's pissed that the entire world is pissed at him for his own actions.
How dare you, dude?
Yes.
You drove me to do it.
Yes. I'm like, fuck off, bro.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. Is that why? Like, I want to see a little bit of a sad sack. I want you to be, I want to see the humility. I want to see you go, Dude, I got so lost in the sauce, as Tom Schwartz would say. He got lost in the sauce. I want to see that. And you already see by the second Tom and Tom scene, Schwartz seems like they're back to old times. Like,
really? I
we live to cheat again, brother. All right. God. I mean, that's the thing. And we do know Jax Taylor is coming back. Jax said, he's like, dude, I'm not going in there like just to, rail him about Ariana. I'm going in there to rail him about this and this and this and this. And I was
Wait, pause.
Yeah.
Jax is coming back to Vanderpump or to
I think just
the
in
Valley
a friend.
Village
He's doing the Valley Village, but he's also going to be making appearances on Vanderpump Rules.
I did
in
not
fact,
know
I
that.
think they might have already shot the first one of his appearance. But by the way, that is a capacity that I would love to see that scene between Jax and Sandoval, because one of the last scenes we saw when Jax was on the show was that it was in the Sir dumpster, the Sir alleyway, when they were like both on chairs, like sitting out there in the daytime arguing, and they truly do hate each other. And I think, but also it works on a lot of different levels for me, because there's also this obliviousness from Jax's side of like the being so hypocritical for what he's going to be, like.
Oh, yeah. Like, he's just going to drag Tom for filth as if he is a precious angel gem of a human.
And that's the thing. And the reason why Jax will potentially, if he does it right, be able to read him for filth is because these are the things that Jax has been saying it to himself in his own head of like, dude, why can't you get it together? Why do you do these things to yourself? So I think it's going to work on multiple different levels, even though people are like, we don't need him. I'm like, just give it, just let us have a couple scenes. It'll be okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So this is something I was like, I wanted to ask you this, and we can cut it if you don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I'm always so curious. Like, you come on here, you go on like Kristen's podcast, you go on other people's podcasts, you talk about the show and what they're doing. But like, even now living in LA and like being in the more like LA culture, like, we went to an event where some Vanderpump people were there. Like, you've hung out with these people before. Is it odd or awkward, like, that you have, like, it's not a parasocial relationship, It's not like you sitting here talking about people that you've never met and, like, they're just characters on a show. Like, does it ever get weird for you?
Well, I mean, I would say the same thing. It's not as, because Lex, we were at that event. We met for the first time a couple weeks ago in person, and Dodie was there. That's the first time I met Dodie. That's the first time. And there were Vanderpump adjacent, like, Janet and Jared and all those people. And it's weird in the sense that, it is weird. Like, I would not step into Tom right now because I don't want to see Sandoval. I don't want to have that experience. And I think it would be, seeing how he's reacting, it would be an angry experience on his side. Yeah. And I would probably stand up, like, I would, because I have very passionate feelings about what I watched on television and who I thought he was. But also, the show is nothing to do with me, nor should it ever be. These are just my own personal feelings. It is weird in the sense that I'm glad that I'm a far enough out of it where I can comment on it still. And the worries that I think the season will be about, if it went my way, is I think these people getting so many brand deals and opportunities are going to eat them alive at its core. It's not going to even be Sandoval. It's going to be a disease that potentially spreads of, how much success is good for you in a short amount of time. By the way, I could be completely wrong, but I think there is something that when you get success or you get people throwing you flowers all the time, and I don't mean Ariana here, but I do even mean that, it is going to be interesting to see documentation-wise of how that affects everybody, of how that changes people, because they had 2 seasons of people not, but caring, but being like...
Everyone was like, the show is done.
Their best days are behind them.
Yeah.
And I think it's got to really mess with their minds as well now that they're like, wow, people... And I asked one of the producers last week, how is it with filming? Because... Kiki had mentioned, it's going to be so hard to film with the sound and people just staring at you in the background. And the producer said, so far it's been really good. In fact, everybody's been respectful, but they do have security. Because I was like, you're going to have fans ruining takes, just coming up to people or sound. And so far that's not been a problem. But I do think it's going to be interesting if they have to get eventually to a Kardashian way of shooting where they just have to shoot in mansions or shoot like away from the public. I don't know. It is very weird to think about because when you do talk to these people, it sometimes ruins the element that you like so have in your head of how they are. And you do realize they're real people, but at the same time, they're real people that also want to make money. They're real people that
This is their job.
Yeah, this is their job, but they don't even know. It's like being a superhero that doesn't know how to use their powers.
Yeah.
They don't truly know how to like capitalize on this. Like, in fact, I think Lala is probably one of the best or the most interesting people in trying to capture this and try to move past the show in some ways.
Yeah.
Like, I truly think Lala could move. Like, I think the podcast for her, I think it could go in a, I don't know, for her, I think like she's in a different direction and she's not as tied to this group as like that core,
or somebody.
that core group where I think she could actually capitalize this on a different way after the show is over. But I don't know. I think that'll be interesting. But yeah, it's weird. Like, I don't, and that's how even when I was out there at that event, I went there for Jared for the cancer fundraiser.
Yes.
But normally I would not be going out. I don't try to get myself invited to those things. I don't. In fact, I when I'm invited, I don't go. Or I'll say I'll go. Like, I missed Janet's baby shower. I was too scared to go. I didn't want to be.
No, it was fun.
I get really weird about those things, and I also don't want to. I want to be able to, have my own feelings about what I see rather than, well, this person.
Be immersed in it and have it potentially skew your opinion.
I love it so much. And then when you actually start to, I don't know. Anyways, but speaking of the Kardashians, I do want to mention the Kardashians. I know you guys are so hateful towards them in terms of this show, but I got to tell you, if you were in terms of like watching Meta on TV, and I don't mean Instagram, but Meta in terms of just the, celebrity eating itself and like what the Kardashians, this new series on Hulu, the third season, what they want to capture and show us, and then what you can read behind the lines. And then this week, it was even just the gloves are completely off.
Yep.
Kourtney and Kim have the most ridiculous rich fight of the century in terms of did Kim steal Kourtney's La Dolce Vita lifestyle with her Dolce & Gabbana collaboration, or like Kim said in a talking head, like, listen, who had Andrea Bocelli at their wedding sing first? He is my favorite male singer who got married in Italy first. And I was like, I've never seen such a rich fight.
You stole my wedding country.
Yeah. Who stole? Yeah, you stole my wedding country. Like, that is, I'm sorry. That is, I want to smother in that like a warm blanket.
Bathe
when I watched that,
yeah.
I was like, this is truly incredible. And the people that aren't watching this because it's not
You're
like you have
out.
to fully love them. You can fully loathe them and get something out of this because it's wild. It is bananas, and it shows you how wealthy they are and how that you could be a billionaire and still get up in petty squabbles. It's just richer petty squabbles.
Yes. Like, so I posted this on my TikTok as well because I was like, they're fighting about like getting married in Italy, Andrea Bocelli performing. I'm like, me and my sister fight over like an Amazon top. But I was also just like, I loved Kourtney where she's like, Travis and I have been living the Dolce Vita lifestyle for the last 5 years. Like walking, getting ice cream, paparazzi. I was like, what words are coming out of your mouth?
Well, that's what I was like. It's like, guys, everybody knows I've been living the Old Navy lifestyle the last decade. Like, okay? And if anybody tried to steal the Old Navy lifestyle from me, I would totally just call them out. But also, this poor Andrea Bocelli, he's blind. He's like, all of a sudden, he's this amazing singer, and he's all of a sudden a pawn in the Kardashians' game. He's like, listen, there's enough of Andrea to go around. Now I'm doing like Andrea from Summer House. Yeah, he commented. He's like, I will sing beautiful for both of all. Yeah. Well, did you see there's an actual Dolce & Gabbana event in Italy right now? And I saw Kim post. Was Kourtney invited? Is she there?
I don't know.
Dude,
She's
I haven't not there.
Kourtney. But she's pregnant, right? Like, I don't know if she's traveling. I don't know if Dolce Vita lifestyle is on pause for baby right now.
I don't think it can pause for a baby. If that's your lifestyle, you can't pause it for a baby.
The Dolce Vita lifestyle rests for no one.
Exactly. If Kourtney wasn't invited, this is their Oppenheimer,
That's
dude.
bad.
This is Oppenheimer. Yeah. Like, this is going to be World War III nuclear destruction. And the show is so great because they also celebrated Kim's birthday Chris's birthday this past week, where they all dressed like different versions of Chris, and it was hysterical because I feel like they've done that storyline before where they all dress like Chris, but they said it was the first time. I'm like, are you forgetting your old storylines? But then all these older ladies went around and said beautiful stories about Chris, and I just thought it was very interesting to think that someday this is going to be done for Kim and the hierarchy of the Kardashians. And I always say that one day Kim will forcibly remove Kris Jenner from management, and she will take over all management duties for all that family.
Oh,
Like,
see,
I do
think
think
it's gonna be
eventually
Chloe. I think Chloe is the successor.
Kim's got her eye on that, dude. Kim's eye is on that prize, and I'm telling you, she will literally sweep Kris Jenner's leg like in Karate Kid. She'll be like, sorry, Kris, I love what you've done for me. It's done. Over. Game over.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, interesting. That's a hot take. I really firmly believe. I do. I really always in my mind, I was like, oh my God, Chloe is like the future matriarchy of the family. I really thought that. And then also the last thing I'll say with Kim and Kourtney, Kim brought up the point that like Kylie also did something with Dolce before Kim did.
Yeah.
And Kourtney wasn't mad at all. And she was like, that's like mom. That's mom, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but then why aren't you mad at your mom too then? Like, the math ain't mathin'. They just have a sibling rivalry thing. And yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm here for it, and I think I love it, and that's why I highly recommend that you'll. I just don't know why people can't appreciate it for what it is. Like, it is so comical in this sense. Moving on, Britney Spears, she popped up in the news this week. She was in Vegas, and she got backhanded by this NBA star's security. And there's actual video of this happening. And everybody thought Britney was lying, and then there was an actual video of her getting backhanded. And this NBA star, I don't think has apologized yet, but what the heck was that? And also, somebody was like, well, why is Britney just running up to NBA stars anyways? I'm like, Britney lives in a childhood kind of fantasy world where she does think it's okay to like just walk up to NBA stars.
Exactly. She was excited, and she like you can see her running in her hair, her extensions wobbling in the background.
See her the flip flop just flopping, flop, flop, flop.
And then I know Samantha, like there was like a couple of people that were like, it was accidental, like the guy's hand like got, like he didn't mean to hit her or whatever, but like she very clearly got hit in the face.
Yeah, I mean, you could see it completely.
And this man, like this NBA player and his team, like they should make a formal public apology. Or I hope that they've at least done it in private,
But also, it's one of those pop culture moments where you're like, oh man, anybody but Britney. Like,
I know, I didn't post about it.
But like, if we live in some kind of simulation, whoever is playing the Britney character on this video game of life is really just losing again. Like, I'm like, why do we have to after everything, we're backhanding Britney by NBA players just accidentally because Britney has a little fan book open for an autograph? I mean, like, this is wild.
I know. And I'm like, anybody but Britney. Again, I was like, I couldn't even bring myself to post it. And then I was like, enough people are talking about this. I'm like, I just want us to leave Britney alone. Like, it's so cliche, but I'm
leave Britney alone.
Yeah.
Just do it. We can't seem to do it. And by the way, we've got to, like, Britney, I don't know. It was so frustrating to watch, and I just couldn't believe it.
And wait, have you talked about this on the podcast before? How there is also now this theory circulating that like the Britney dancing videos is AI.
Yes,
and
I've seen
it's
that.
like
yes,
just a different person dancing, and then they like put her face on it, and it's not actually her. Like, it's so many crazy rumors.
Of course. I mean, like, we now live in a culture that like you cannot believe anything 100%. Even like the most, we will argue if like something's blue. We're like, are you sure it's blue? That's not blue.
It's a gold
I
or
can prove to you that's not blue. It started with that damn dress. Is it blue and gold or black? It's all, you can argue anything and everything is a conspiratorial AI, Photoshop, whatever. Okay, last thing. This has gone way too quick. Mauricio and Kyle, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We had the separation announced by People, and then she has a very special friend right now, Morgan Wade, the country singer, which I think those two things aren't related in the sense that I don't think she made a special friend and that's what caused the problems with Mauricio at all. I think maybe obviously she had problems with Mauricio, and I think then the special friend helps you with those issues in the sense of makes you feel better about yourself at a very low point in your life.
Yes. I mean, Camelot has fallen. I was so upset when that People magazine article came out the night before 4th of July. They did that press. Hopefully everybody goes about their holiday and doesn't talk about it. And then the two of them come in like a joint statement, Instagram post being like, this isn't true. We've hit a rough patch, but we're not getting divorced, so on and so forth. But then it's like, Kyle, you also got the tattoos going with Morgan. She's got a K on her now.
Dude,
Her ex-girlfriend is out on TikTok.
Did you see she loaned the Rolex to
Rolex.
Morgan? Morgan was performing in the $10,000 Rolex. And I'm saying, Mauricio got her that Rolex. And I don't, like, this is the only time I'll be a guy where I'll be like, if I got you a $10,000 Rolex, it better not be on your special friend's wrist during a concert show. So that's the only time. But I will say, maybe Mauricio was like a Jonah Hill type of like, I don't want you to do Beverly. Like, maybe he was texting weird things and maybe more, I don't know. This is how the show started with Jonah Hill, and maybe I don't want to paint Mauricio like that, but also, who knows? A 27-year relationship is so long.
Yeah.
And I don't think this, I don't necessarily think this is completely over, but I was shocked that it got announced. I knew they were going through issues, but I was shocked that it got announced.
Same. And I'm very curious because, like, the one thing I keep coming back to is, like, Kyle and Mauricio are, like, so tight, like in lockstep with their image, their brand,
exactly
for the show, for the agency, for buying Beverly Hills. Like, they're so in lockstep. My gut is telling me they actually are separated or divorcing or whatever, but they're like, we have to remain a united front here right now for our brand and our image, but also because they're like, we want to save this for like one of our shows. Like, they know the power I
don't think they've ever been ballsy enough to have anything like this on their shows. Like, all the storylines have been like Kyle maybe fighting with her sisters, but even then, that was such a tight lid, and Kim or Kathy, it was easy to paint them as the crazy ones. So I think Kyle's always like protected that. So that's the thing, is that I don't think, a la Scandal, we're going to see cameras go back up. I don't think.
Agreed.
I could be completely wrong. And by the way, maybe they saw this is popular right now, so sharing is cool, and maybe that's where we'll go. I'm yet to. I don't know. I really don't know, but I was shocked about that, and I'm really curious to see where this story goes. If you see over the weekend, she was stopped by a couple paparazzi. One, she was like, station. By the way, Kyle's smoking cigarettes at a gas pump. Like, how? Like, my God, Kyle. Like
Kyle,
are you on the nose much? Evolved. Like, what's up, brother? What's up? She like just crushed a Coors Light and just threw, what's up, brother? You got a question for me, brother? Yeah, she's like, what up? Yeah, no, like, it's really, really super. Well, I don't know. Anyways, also, you guys, welcome to Crappy Lake premiere tonight. It's hysterical. Go watch it. Lex, I thank you so much for doing this today.
Always.
I know this was just a crazy, fast hour, but what can we support you with? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, make sure you subscribe and listen to Crown Jewels, the Crown Jewels podcast presented by Betches Media. Follow me on all the socials, including Threads at Lex Niko. And that's what's up with me.
Wait, I gotta say, Lex, have you guys recently talked about obviously the podcasting drama with Meghan Markle?
Oh, yeah.
In terms of, I am announcing that I'm taking over her contract at Spotify.
Congratulations. Archetypes with Ryan.
It's Archetypes with Ryan. I'm getting $30, and it's a lot cheaper, so they're very excited about it. No, it just seems wild that, like, podcasting isn't easy, but it's not hard. And I will say, the fact that, like, I was a Meghan Harry supporter, but now it's getting weird, man. Like, you can't put a podcast together.
It's getting tough to support them. That's like my continued thing when Sam and I talk about this. It's like, I want to support them. I want Harry and Meghan to thrive all the way to the bank. But when you sign a $20 million podcast deal, you record one episode of a podcast, and then you wait 18 months to do another podcast.
That's not how podcasting works.
That's not how it works. And then the thing that I always say about them, Ryan, I'm like, they always double down. It's like, instead of being like, the podcast wasn't right, the Archwell team is like, Meghan is excited to like continue to evolve the Archetypes podcast like on another medium, and I'm like, stop doubling down. Like,
Spotify. It's Spotify sucks, you guys. Spotify's the problem. We're gonna get 20 million elsewhere.
Yes. I was like, this is like giving me Logan Roy energy of like, I love you, but you're not serious people. Like, just go launch the TIG, Meghan. Like, go on a yacht and like post photos on Instagram and just live your rich Dolce Vita lifestyle. That's what I want to see from you.
Crown Jewels, you guys, go subscribe to that now. Rate it 5 stars. They will be covering all of this.
Major
so go
rant.
Support. No, please, I love it. And thank you so much for doing this. I hope to talk to you again very soon.
100%. I'll see you soon.